What are the top things that investors that you have been speaking to want to see when it comes to Line?
They want to see more than just what's happening this week. What happens after the IPO? We've seen them, stickers and Line's platform was really popular and in vogue 2 years ago. Now a lot of the other messaging services have caught up, and it really needs to expand out of its home markets in Japan, in Taiwan, and Indonesia. If you look at the penetration there, users in those areas who actually use messaging apps, 80–90% of them are using Line. In the US, it's only 12%. So growth, what is next? That's going to be the big thing that investors here in the US, where 2/3 of the shares will be listed, will be paying attention to, so that it doesn't go by the way of like what happened with Twitter today, where there's questions about growth and you see a big sell-off in the stock.
Line is popular, though, in some interesting and unexpected countries. As we look on this map, Saudi Arabia, for example, they're looking to expand heavily in the Middle East, in emerging Asian countries, Indonesia, Taiwan, Thailand. Reed, give us the locals' perspective online. Who is using this app and why? I mean, it's got a very different business model from the business model that has been at WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger, in that, stickers are very important. There's gaming on there, there's streaming media, and a lot of other things.
Well, I mean, you said an interesting thing, business model. I mean, to some extent, Line is the only one that actually has a business model. WhatsApp, et cetera, they have a massive, massive number of users, but for all intents and purposes, they don't really make a whole lot of money off of them. The interesting thing about Line is that it has figured out how to make money from its users, but on top of that, it's also figured out how to tailor its product to specifically target certain markets. For example, in Indonesia, the executives at Line realized that alumni networks are really big down there, and so what they did was they built into the app features that would let people find each other more easily through their alumni networks, and obviously bringing in a lot of other products that kind of lock into that. And so really, what we're talking about is the hope of investors that Line, with a proven model for making money off of messaging, can bring some of that magic to the U.S. Obviously, competition is much more fierce there, but it is a bigger price, and to some extent, this IPO is a way to raise awareness, but also bring in some funds so that they can try and nab some of the world's biggest market.
And the company has said they want to expand, or they're looking to expand in places where perhaps Facebook, WhatsApp and Messenger and Tencent's WeChat aren't as pervasive. That's an opportunity for them. David, what do you make of how Line sets it apart from Facebook and from Tencent? Because Facebook and Tencent arguably have been copying some of the things that Line has done, and Line's growth has, in fact, slowed down.
Well, first of all, I wouldn't bank on building any business based on where Facebook isn't, because that's hardly anywhere. But it's true that Line is more, in a way, of a content distribution network that uses messaging as its kind of lure to get the customers involved than the other services. And it's fundamentally different. My concern would be its long-term durability, as Alex was saying. I think, it's a very trend-driven business. It's kind of a faddish thing. Its primary users, especially in its home country of Japan historically, were very young. Now in Japan, everybody uses it, which is a good sign, potentially, for them in other countries, except Japan is so different culturally from any other country, and I don't know whether we can take that to the bank. I think that communications on the internet changes very, very rapidly. I personally would be cautious about investing in this company.
So, Alex, the stock is priced. When do we expect Line to start trading?
It'll start trading in the U.S. on Thursday, in Tokyo the following local time on Friday. And, we will be obviously paying attention, because going into this offering, they raised the marketed range because they said demand was so high and market conditions were right. And at the time, remember, this is when all of the UK Brexit volatility was happening. And this is a business that does not really sell into the UK, so that might have played into it a little bit. So it will list on Thursday. And again, the people I'm talking to in the street are saying it's not necessarily going to be about what it does on first trading day, what it does in the next few weeks. It will be whether or not the company can continue to execute quarter after quarter in front of, what seems to be a very fickle U.S. tech investor base.